Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ella and I'm a writer in progress. Today on my channel, we're continuing our mental health series, talking about writing and depression. Let's get started. J.K. Rowling, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Sylvia Plath. What do all these writers have in common? They all struggled with clinical depression in their lives, but they continued to be prolific and amazing authors. You should never give depression the power to hold you back. But why do so many writers struggle with depression? There's a lot of reasons as to why this happens. Number one, writing is often a very solitary activity. Us writers spend hours on end in our bedrooms or in our offices alone writing, existing in these worlds that we've created inside our heads that are sometimes so lifelike they almost make us forget about the real world that exists outside. We don't interact with people face to face very often. We get wrapped up in our work and sucked into the worlds that we created, and we forget the one outside. We get wrapped up in our stories or caught up on a deadline, and we forget to interact with the people around us. We cancel plans with friends, or we don't hang out with family often enough because we're so caught up in our work and what we have to accomplish. Or we're so passionate about our work that we just can't rip ourselves away from it. And even though writers are oftentimes solitary and introverted people, we still need social interaction in our lives to be healthy. But people need social interaction to feel good. Lack of social interaction or human contact can make anyone, even a full-blown introvert, antsy, exhausted, maybe even a little claustrophobic. The second bad habit of writers is their lifestyle in general. Writers often have lack of human contact. They don't go outside very often, so they don't get natural sunshine. They often have a very bad diet because we forget to eat meals when we're writing. We get distracted and we don't have dinner, we don't have lunch, and we eat just kind of munchy foods throughout the day that are really bad for us. Writers often have really bad sleep schedules because we either wake up really early in the morning to get our writing in before work, or we're staying up all hours of the night to get our writing done after work, and we're not sleeping enough, and it's making our brains exhausted. And writers live very sedentary lifestyles. We sit at our desks all day, or we sit in bed all day and we write. We sit on a couch and we write. So I suggest if you have to write all day, invest in a standing desk or an exercise desk. That way you're not sitting all the time and you're actually doing your body some good. But make sure that every 20 minutes, if you can, you get up and walk around, take a lap around your house or your office, or go outside for a nice walk every day. And make sure you're getting your exercise in and you're getting some sunshine and some human contact as well. And these will all do wonders for your brain and your health. All of these things together can cause your risk of depression to climb higher. Many of us don't know that we're struggling with depression until we're already in the middle of it. Depression often sneaks up on you. This dark cloud following you around all day, every day, until eventually it feels like you're slogging through quicksand, trying to accomplish even the simplest of tasks. Depression destroys your creativity. You're exhausted, and yet you don't sleep at night. You either forget to eat all day, or you eat way too much, and you have no energy to write, let alone to think. Being exhausted and restless with no energy makes you miserable. And this in turn makes you dismiss every new idea or every original idea you've had for your manuscript because you just don't feel like it. You don't have the energy to write. Nothing sounds good anymore. You think every idea you come up with is horrible, is stupid, is unoriginal. You just dismiss it right off the bat because your brain is telling you that you're not good enough. All of your writing seems terrible because your brain isn't working properly right now. But you just dismiss everything you wrote and accept that you're never going to be able to write anything good anymore because whatever creativity you had is gone. And this makes you even more miserable than you were before because writing is your passion. It's what fuels you. And now you think you can't do it, that you've lost your mojo. And you're stuck in this catch-22 where you want to write, but you can't, and you get even more depressed. But the reason that you can't write in the first place is because you're already depressed. And not writing is fueling your depression. And it drains all of the energy that you may have had left for creativity until you have nothing to give. Now, you might have to seek help from a professional in dealing with and overcoming your depression, especially if your feelings of helplessness and hopelessness are leading you to feel suicidal in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to leave the links to the suicide hotline down below, so if you're struggling at all, please give them a call. And know that it does get better. Depression snuck up on me. I mean, it was weeks before I realized that that awful, never happy, helpless, hopeless feeling that I was carrying around in my bones wasn't normal. I felt numb most of the time, and the times that I didn't feel numb, I wasn't even just sad. I had already given up. The future held no hope for me. Every day felt like it was just sucking every happy or good feeling that I ever had. You know, depression is very much like a Dementor's kiss. I mean, J.K. Rowling was spot on. It leaves you with nothing but that kind of hopeless misery and that knowledge that nothing is going to get better. You believe that with every fiber of your being at the time, and you just get stuck in that hopeless feeling and there's no way out. Once I finally admitted to myself that I was depressed, I reached out for help, and I got a therapist, and I told my family about my struggles, and I let people in, and I stopped isolating myself so much. I started taking antidepressants, but more importantly, I started talking about how I felt and the fears and thoughts that I was having at the time with my therapist. And I was being really honest with myself for the first time. And it was very raw, and it made me feel really vulnerable, and it hurt. It was painful. I can't count the amount of times I cried in front of my therapist. But eventually, it started to feel more like progress and healing. And I could see that I was making progress, that I was getting better, that my thoughts weren't so negative all of the time, and that I could recognize the symptoms of depression, and I could make little small changes to my daily routine and kind of help alleviate some of those feelings. I'm not going to sit here and say that I cured my depression, because it's still there, lurking in the dark spots of my mind, and I'll probably always have a higher likelihood of becoming depressed again. But I am sitting here as proof that the dark cloud does eventually lift. You are not stuck in that hopeless, helpless feeling forever. The sun does come out. You know, your Patronus will defeat that Dementor, and you will feel happy again. I promise you. You know, it's strange looking back on how I was a few months ago. I almost don't recognize that person. The person I was at my worst, I feel like that was a completely separate person from who I am now. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling hopeless or miserable, there are steps that you can take in order to help you feel better. There are steps like going to talk therapy, doing cognitive behavioral therapy where you train your brain into thinking a different way, or starting antidepressants with the assistance of your doctor. All of these steps can help correct the chemical imbalance in your brain that's causing your depression. But they can also help you deal with the underlying cause of your depression and all of the different factors that have resulted in it being so strong. Depression doesn't come from nowhere. Even if your genetics make you more susceptible to depression, it's still fostered by daily patterns of negative thoughts and behaviors that reinforce that catch-22 of depressive thoughts. So here are some steps you can take to battle depression in your everyday life. The first one is to practice positive self-talk. A lot of us, when we're depressed, have only negative things to say about ourselves. We talk down to ourselves, we belittle ourselves all of the time. We don't think we're worth anything, but we are. And I know it's really hard at first, but you have to change the way that you talk to yourself. Start by cutting yourself some slack every day. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Then you can move on to every day making a list of 3 things that you're proud of, that you're happy about, whether it's something that you did or something about yourself. Eventually, you can train your brain to think positively about yourself instead of negatively, and you'll be shocked by how much that's going to increase your mood. Now, a lot of people think that having positive self-thoughts means that even when you do something horrible, you have to think it was great. And that's not true. You can have bad days. You can be sad, you can be angry, but don't belittle yourself or talk down to yourself, and don't call yourself names. Be respectful. Treat yourself how you would treat other people. That way you can still have bad days, and you can still be respectful and happy. My 3rd tip is to challenge your depressive thoughts. When you're a writer and you're struggling with depression, your brain is going to tell you that every idea you come up with sucks, and that you shouldn't even try and write them down because they're not good anyway. And I want you to challenge those thoughts. Tell that voice in your head, it doesn't matter if what I write is good or not, because no one else is going to read it. This is just for me, and I like writing, and I want to write it down, and then do it. It's going to be hard, and you're going to struggle. But eventually, if you keep that up, you're going to nullify that voice in your head telling you that you can't write, because anybody can write. Anybody can put words to paper or put fingers to a keyboard. So challenge that voice. Tell it you can do what you want, and you will. My next tip is to practice self-care. As writers, we often forget about ourselves. We're so wrapped up in our worlds and our characters that we forget to take time for ourselves. So these are just some little things that you can do that are going to help you practice self-love. Get enough sleep every night. Go to sleep when you're actually tired. When you start yawning and getting really antsy and you can't sit still, that's your body telling you that you need sleep. So go to sleep when you're tired, and try and get a regular sleep schedule set up. Your body will thank you. Go outside. Take your laptop to the backyard or to the patio of a local coffee shop and get some writing done in the sunshine when it's nice out. Also, having a pet is a great resource for writers who self-isolate a lot, because they kind of force you to get out of your house and go on walks every day. And you get to meet a lot of people because everybody wants to talk to the person with the cute dog. Trust me. And pets are also great for companionship. You're never alone if you have a dog or a cat nearby, because you always have them to talk to and interact with. And they're always there to love on you and receive lots of your attention. Make time for yourself. Book an appointment to get your nails done or get your hair done. Book a massage. Take care of your body. If you show your body how much you love and appreciate it, it will repay that, trust me. And my final tip is reward yourself for every success you make. It doesn't have to be a big one. If you're waiting to reward yourself until you finish your manuscript, that's an awful long time to go without any thank you. Reward yourself every time you finish a chapter or a hard scene. Reward yourself every time you actually sit down to write, and it's going to reinforce your good habits and make you a happier writer. I know that depression is a horrible thing to live through. I've been there, I know. But I'm here to tell you the fog does lift. You will feel happy again. You'll feel like yourself again one day. And remember, your writing will not suffer because of your depression. You will get back to writing. If you can't do it now, you will one day in the future. Writing is who you are. You'll never lose that part of yourself. Not even depression can take it from you. So believe in yourself and your passion. And write on. Okay guys, that's the end of my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was a very personal video for me to film, so I'm a little nervous about posting it, but I hope you guys love it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!